Hey Hero fans, this is Todd. So I got this really cool book a long time ago called the Power and Honor Foundation Catalog Volume 1. And when we got this book, we were hoping to get Volume 2 and 3 and so on, but all they made is this one. But this one is so cool. It has like all kinds of fabulous artwork that is from the He-Man collection. And from what I understand, the guys who put this together, they literally went and bought all this artwork to put in this book, and it is just really cool, really amazing, and some great things that was in the He-Man world. Well, one thing it has in here is it has figures they were going to have that were never produced. And we could see right here we have the cool mummy guy, right? Which of course we did get eventually, Rat Trap. But there are some really cool figure features that we never got. Well, besides just cool figure features and monsters and everything else, there is also a section on playsets we never got. So here's a playset we did get. It's Castle Grayskull, as you can see, and it has the cool moat around it and everything else, and the cool stuff from the old set. Many of you guys have seen this online before, nothing new. And someone's making a really cool custom ones of this castle with a larger top and a smaller door and a more prominent mouth sticking out and the right gun and everything else, and of course a little piece on the side. But what I'm interested in is the ones that were unproduced. Like we've seen this one too. It's what Snake Mountain was made from, this really cool idea of this jungle one. And here's another little piece here, and these two together probably is what made Snake Mountain up. So you can see He-Man trapped there on the wall, and pretty much they just put these two together and they made Snake Mountain. So some of my favorite play sets are on this page right here. My ultimate favorite is this top one right here, which would have been so cool to have. This is actually a basement to Castle Grayskull. So your castle would sit on this top edge right here, and this would be below it. So you'd have this area that would be below Castle Grayskull, and it's like, oh, that is so cool. A real basement to Castle Grayskull. That is just so cool. So, another cool thing that I liked was this dungeon playset. Now, this dungeon playset, by looking at it, it's kind of hard to tell what the size is. I imagine it was probably really small, maybe 6 inches high. At the most, if it's a 5.5-inch figure, maybe even smaller than that. We just kind of show the figure and they're sitting or something. But, you know, and it shows it kind of folding up and how it works. You know, you can see kind of how the pieces play together. And I always thought it would be kind of a fun one to have. Now what's interesting is right here you can see it looks like it only has maybe 2 walls to it. And I wonder if it actually fits underneath the floor of the first floor of Castle Grayskull. I'm guessing right under, let's go back to that picture of Castle Grayskull. Right under here, right under here, if it fit right in that area. Which would make sense because that's where you're supposed to trap people at. So I wonder if that's what it was made for. So I've wanted to make this for a while, and I've thought about it, and I've gone to different craft stores to look for pieces I can use. And I decided just a few nights ago that I was going to just make this myself on my computer in 3D. So I set out to make it, and I went and I figured out the sizing and everything else for classics, because that's what I'm into is classics. And so this ended up being like 200 meters tall. So it fit a figure right about there. So they couldn't stand under the door, but they could stand up inside here once the top's put on there. And that's kind of what I was looking for. But then I went to go print it, and it was going to take like 3 days and 16 hours or some crazy amount of time. So I decided to make a small one first, just as my prototype. So here is my small one. Let's go and check this out. You can see I got my skull and crossbones, and I got my window on there, and it's all brick motifed all the way around, and the inside's also brick too, so it's kind of cool. And then I have the door right here, which is built into it, unremovable, because I figured this is probably the same way. You probably just literally just stick the figure over it and put the figure on top, or put the cage on top and trap them, and there you go. So that's kind of what I was thinking. And so I decided to print a full-size one for my classics. And as I was printing, again, it was going to take 3 days to print. This is as far as it got before my printer locked up, but you can see how huge this is. This thing would have been massive. In fact, here's the supports for the window. So you can see the windows right here. These are supports that go up to sit underneath there. So this would stick out approximately that far. And then this is the support for the door and the skull. So this support right here actually works its way up, whoops, to this skull piece right here for support. So you can see the skull would probably be about that size on here once it was full size. And you can see, I mean, a lot of figures can fit inside this dungeon. I mean, it would have been really cool. I mean, look, you can put figures lying down in there if you wanted to. And then again, for the height, it would have gone about up to here. Like I said, it'd be like 200 millimeters. Oops, I guess you can't see that. It'd be about right to here on his head, so it'd be about 200 millimeters high for this. So let's see if we can try to size this accordingly. So it would have been something like that for the sizing. So that would have been mammoth. So my printer had a fault on it, and it could possibly be the motherboard that went out or something else. And I'm like, man, really? I just got it finally doing some really cool stuff, making my dungeon, and it decides to lock up. Well, luckily I had until the 9th to return it to Amazon. And so being today's not the 9th yet, I still had a few days left. So it's being sent back, a new one's being sent in its place. And I will soon have my printer back, and then I will start making these cool dungeons. Now, I plan on making 3 different sizes. One size for the classics that goes all the way up a little beyond his head. And then I want to make a roof piece for it too. Either it's going to look like the book does, where it has the boards going across with the sticks. Or I was thinking about making a roof that looks like the sticker in Castle Grayskull with all the hands coming out. I'm not going to have the hands or anything, just the beams the exact same way. So then you can pretend like this is the dungeon those creatures are in. And this would be basically the 3D part of your sticker, pretty much. And then you'd have the piece on top that would look like that cage that you see coming off the sticker of the castle floor. Now, I wouldn't have the green around it because that's supposed to be like the floor of the castle. It would just be the metal bars and the metal pieces. And then my next thought was, maybe I should make this removable. So I'm still working on that, and I'm thinking about making it so that there's a slit in the top here, and this piece will go all the way up and down, so you can slide it down, choomp, and lock them in. And so you can see how big those pillars were going to be. I mean, these are the 4 pillars right here that are these little dinky stick ones here, and you can see how mammoth they were going to be. So I could probably make them a little smaller than what they are, and then put a channel right in here, so that you'd have a spot from the slide up and down in, is what I'm kind of thinking. I may or may not do that. I'm still debating because that's a lot more effort to do that. But the bad news is, to print this whole thing takes a little more than 1 spool of material. So it takes a whole spool plus a little more to make the whole entire piece like this, not including the roof. So I'm still debating on how I want to go about doing it. But you can see my cool little model design, how it came out. So, the 3 sizes I'm planning on making, again, like I said, 1 for classics, will be about this tall, and then 1 for the 5 1/4 figures. As you can see, they're much shorter, and when I do shrink it down, then it shrinks in all directions, so it'll be smaller all the way around. And then 1 that will fit inside Castle Grayskull under that first floor, so it will fit in that spot, hopefully, in that area. And then, of course, that one will be even smaller yet, I believe. I'm not sure. I'll have to do the measurements on that. So that's my idea of making those 3. Of course, the classics one I was making for myself, which I know it's a lot bigger than what I thought it was going to be when I first started. It takes up the whole entire print bed on my printer. I can't make anything bigger than this. This is it. This is the full print bed. So I was maxing that poor little printer out. And, of course, now it's dead. So, like I said, a new one's on the way. Anyway, let me know what you think of my cool dungeon. It was the next thing I was planning on making. The first thing I wanted to make, of course, was the wall that you guys have seen for the inside of the dungeon for Snake Mountain. And, of course, now I'm making another dungeon. That's kind of weird, but yep. So now I'm making this little playset dungeon, which will be monstrously huge. And that's pretty much it. So let me know what you think. And then after this video, I may have a live session so we can talk about it some more. But we'll see. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, and I'll see you guys next video.